What is going on, legendary humans? Ryan Magic here, and in this video I'm going to share with you 9 qualities that men actually find attractive in women. How can you be a sex bomb as a woman heterosexually, to make that very, very clear? These are interesting things, and all of these points are aspects that you can control. So you can go through these and you can work on these things and make yourself more attractive and appealing to the opposite sex. Now, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, make sure you click that button so you can devote yourself to the personal development journey and keep an eye out for my future videos. Let's get into it. So the first one, I love this point. This is pretty much me just doing a little qualification tool for my future partner. So if you're watching this right now, just know this is the benchmark. All right. And this is going to be fun as well, just to pre-frame. Radiance. Woo! Radiance. When I think radiant, I think sunshine. When I think sunshine in relation to a woman, I think smiley. Think about it. And by the way, any men that are watching this video, I'm just going to call something out here that's ridiculous, but I've noticed that when I use my hands, sometimes I just kick a leg out. So keep an eye out for it. I just think it's a funny move that I do when I'm talking. So just any men that are on here, if you agree with what I'm saying, drop some validation below. And ladies, keep an eye out on the men's comments because they will tell you that this is true, okay? But I want to pre-frame that these are, and I did this with the opposite version as well, that men find, and I'm going to say men, healthy men. Healthy. And when I say healthy, I'm not just talking about nutritionally and with their body. I'm talking about health mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Because wound attracts wound, heart attracts heart, healthy attracts healthy when it comes to relationships. So a lot of people look for unhealthy partners subconsciously without knowing it. And so I'm talking about, okay, if you are a woman watching this video, and if you are, let's just give you some high five, boom, because you are really elevating society now by creating more amazing options for the healthy men out there. Because this is healthy, 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 healthy functioning, really healthy, loving, intimate relationship, full expression, best version of yourself, fulfillment, not just the dark side of sexual attraction. This is more, what does a healthy person find attractive? And you can control it. So let's do this. Radiance to me means smiley, but I'm just going to do this. If you see a chick walk, if I see a chick walking like this, walking down the street, I'm just like, ooh, damn. Love that. Just turns me on because it is something that there's this beautiful, radiance is the perfect word, you know, I just nailed it with this word, radiance. You see, it's just like any heterosexual men that see a woman that's smiling and bubbly and laughing, you just go, woof. Wow, that's beautiful, that's gorgeous. That's something that feels like a magnet. I just want to get towards that because it's so beautiful. I love this quality. So how can you do that, ladies? You can actually devote yourself to personal development and really work on gratitude, connecting to your heart. There's a lot to it, but just understand that dynamic. It's a bit of a base, getting to a point where you love your life. Because that's what it presupposes. This person is a ray of sunshine. This person brings joy. And for a dude that's kind of from a primitive perspective, is going out of the cave, trying to conquer the world, hunting, like it can be sometimes from the masculine energy perspective, very focused, very driven. And it can be such a beautiful contrast to have this light, fresh ball of sunshine to be around, to keep us grounded, and having that balance is just so beautiful and it's just so attractive, so sexy. These are the sexy qualities. Radiance and smiling is sexy, ladies. Just hear that. Second, sensuality. We're going straight for the jugular here because we've got 9 tips. Now, this one, I've just been very, very jokey. I'm going to switch onto a bit of a serious mode here because ladies that are watching this, sensuality, yes, that relates to sexuality. Now, I want to pre-frame. If you feel like you're disconnected from your body, ladies, on a very, very serious note here, you're not alone. it is a very sensitive topic, and formal statistics show somewhere between 30 and 40% of women are sexually assaulted or sexually abused in their lifetime, okay? That's formally. Informally, it's probably closer to 70 or 80%. There's just a lot of unspoken and there's gray lines between what constitutes sexual abuse or not. Now, this is a big deal because sensuality, and I'm going to explain what it means, there's two aspects to it, but just understand that if right now, and don't form any sense of embarrassment or insecurity as I'm explaining this point, because you're not meant to just naturally, in this society, be all sensual and connected to your body and love and prioritize sex in a really healthy way. Society's really got an unhealthy relationship with sex, and that comes from this quote, and I want you guys to write this down. Whatever is suppressed will be expressed unhealthily. Whatever is suppressed stuff down, will come out eventually, but in an unhealthy way, in a dark or a shadow form. Now, because society suppresses sexuality so much and sensuality, and it's probably one of the only downsides, in my opinion, this is a subjective opinion, of the laws and cultural values that stem from Catholicism and Christianity from Christ 2021 years ago, is society and the church looked at sex in a wrong way. And I'm making a generalization here, but this is where I think it stems from. And as a result, we have this culture where it's weird to talk about sex. It's not normal. And so because it's suppressed, then people have their urges come out in unhealthy ways. Not here trying to take away from the extent of the abuse that goes on, but just understand culturally, not everyone knows how to navigate this situation. It's something you've got to learn, immerse yourself in. You got to be willing to go into and at your own pace, but to fully facilitate this point that is a very serious point, and it's a very attractive quality that healthy men, and all men for this matter on this point, find very attractive, is a woman that is connected to her sensuality. Now that comes in two forms. Connection to the body. Connection, I'm just going to write it here. Connection to the body plus value for sex. Now, one of the world's most famous relationship coaches, Alison Armstrong, you can look up her work. She's been studying it from an academic perspective and just through case studies and working with thousands and thousands of couples and relationships. This is how she explains sex. In relationships, things get old quickly. So this is how it'll go down. Okay, hey, do you feel like having sex, honey? No, I don't. Yeah, me either. Let's do it. And that is essentially saying that it's a difficult one where we don't always feel like it, but the reason that she says that, and this lady is the reason I love Alison Armstrong, and you can Google her, check out her books, one of my favorite books, Understanding Women, that talks about masculine and feminine energy a lot, and she's got another amazing book, Celebrating Partnership, Keys to the Kingdom, The Amazing Development of Men, there's a lot of amazing books. But she has a very beautiful, neutral, and accepting stance on masculinity and femininity. She's got such a beautiful balance. It's not like she's really pro-men and not pro-women, or really pro-women and not pro-men. She's very neutral and has an appreciation for both without any judgment. And because she's done the study, it's awesome. But coming from her and talking about how important sex is, for me, was just like, it's really nice to hear the importance of that intimacy in terms of the trust building in a relationship. But valuing sex is not just, hey, you should want sex all the time. It's understanding the importance of it from an intimacy perspective. So these are 9 qualities that men find sexy in women. And the big precursor to this is, do not judge yourself for not valuing it or being disconnected from your body, because I'm saying you've got every reason to be. What I'm suggesting though, is that you understand and really hear me when I say this is a really important quality. It's a very attractive quality, not only important in terms of being an attractive candidate for the opposite sex or an amazing quality partner in a relationship, but just for your own fulfillment as well, Being connected to your body, it's like you live in your body. It's a beautiful thing to have. But there's going to probably, for a lot of women, be healing necessary to be able to develop that depth of connection to your body and to be able to change your association to sex, to value it. Okay? So, this is, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm a man. I talk to lots of men. I coach a lot of men. I coach a lot of women. I've done a lot of studying. I've done a lot of work in Tantra, a lot of healing my own sexual wounds from hands-on and intellectual trauma release in the realm of sexuality. It is beautiful. And so some resources that I suggest: exploring Tantra, reading some books on Tantra, talks about a relationship with sex in a way that's different to what society says. And it's not just, lovey-dovey, moans, blah, blah, blah. It's about just having a healthy relationship with it. So also seeing a psychotherapist or some kind of therapist, psychologist can be very, very helpful as well. From if they don't have any beliefs that might block them from working with sexual trauma, like if they're a very hardcore Catholic or Christian, it's an assumption. Some people that in those fields would actually be very open, but some might not. So just make sure that they value sex and are willing to work through sexual trauma, and they see the importance of it. But there's important for you to do some healing there in your own time when you want to prioritize it to be able to increase this. Okay? Very important topic there, but plain and simple, a woman that's connected is just like a magnet. It's just like, wow. And David Dieter, the author of The Way of the Superior Man, talks about it very, very interestingly. Talks about there's 3 levels of women in terms of their relationship with sexuality. Level 1 is a woman that uses her sexuality to get things. We could categorize, and I don't like using this word, but you'll get the gist instantly, slutty. So it's like going out there, putting out, etc., but to be able to get things for herself. Level 2 is then closing that off. Think of like a closed off, a more cold, you could say kind of masculine energy woman in a corporate job or something that's shut away from her sexuality. Dresses slightly more masculine, doesn't allow that femininity and that goddess. You could think of a goddess or a radiance to flow. And a level 3 woman is the sexuality, that sexual energy is regulated and expressed, but in a way to give to the world. Someone that feels whole and is not doing it to get anything, but doing it to give and build on the quality of the world. And I love that. It's like there's the overexpression of it in a way that's unhealthy or to get, and it's not their fault. It would be a coping strategy or a safety response from wounding, which I have every piece of compassion and empathy for, but it's just a really powerful model that David Dieter talks about that you can use as a frame of reference to just ask yourself right now, where would you think you sit in that? Would you say it's kind of like, it's something where you really try to get things from that realm? And it's the same with guys. Or is it something where you kind of suppressed and shut off from it for safety as well? Or is it something you allow to flow? And when I say sexuality, it doesn't mean just having intercourse. It means the way that you express yourself, your relationship with the divine, feeling a connectedness and sense of gratitude with all things, all right? We think sensuality just instantly does mean sex. That's a big component of it, especially in a relationship, but there's also a lot of intimacy that goes outside of sex. Anyway, that is a really important one, and I'm glad I went thorough into that, and I hope you're left feeling inspired, no sense of guilt or shame, because that is not at any way what I think you should feel off the back end of this, okay? Give yourself grace and understand that this is a really tough topic for most men as well, and especially women in society, okay? The third one, career-driven. Career-driven, and it's with a caveat, which is that career-driven, but enables herself to be able to bring a sense of surrender when it comes time to be in the dynamic of the relationship. Now, it's important to understand that there's masculine and feminine energy in men and women, and I'm talking more to the heterosexual dynamic in this video, and I normally do because I am heterosexual, and therefore I can speak to it with more clarity and more confidence. But masculine energy is kind of like the yin-yang symbol. You've got a white side and a black side. And on each of them, there's a circle of the opposite color or shade in the yin-yang symbol. So the black, let's say the black's masculine, and then there's a white spot and a feminine spot. In the white, it's white, and then there's a black spot on there. So it's like, to be a healthy in the relationship in the dynamic of a relationship, it's important for that polarity to cause the attraction. Okay, the feminine energy usually heterosexually for the woman, and the masculine energy for the man, being the dominant energy in the context of the relationship. But then also in the context of the relationship, it's still important for women to have a healthy masculine energy so they can hold themselves and they're not completely reliant upon the man for survival. And then the opposite is true. It's important for the man to have some feminine energy and also be able to not purely seek their surrender and joy and expression in the woman. It's important to have the balance for both, but to have in the context of the relationship, for the purpose of polarity, to have the man with the masculine energy, the woman with the feminine energy as the base, and then also have the other energy healthily in there. So career driven is super sexy, but if the woman then, again heterosexually, comes home and then dominates the relationship or still maintains that really intense energy, it can cause a confusion with the polarity. And so it's really important here, career driven, but then surrenders in relationship. Okay. Now, I'm yet to meet a relationship coach. I've never met a relationship coach that's a female that doesn't agree with this point around the surrendering in the relationship. I've never met one, ever. Because most relationship coaches have an appreciation for the masculine energy and the feminine, and because they've explored and understood both factors, there's no charge around it. Like a charge where you're reactive or you get frustrated or triggered hearing certain things based on your map of society and men and women. What I found really interesting is doing a lot of Alison Armstrong's work. The first thing she starts off with in the Understanding Women book is whenever you watch a National Geographic or an animal documentary, the first thing that David Attenborough or whoever's commentating and talking through the documentary will say about each species is the difference between the men and the women. The male and the female of that bird or that mammal. They'll be like, the male frog does this and the female frog does this. And it's just like, it's not judged. It's just understood because there's literally a different dynamic, kind of like hunter and gatherer culture as well. Now, if you watch movies like Milan and you see like, there's obviously exceptions to the rule and because men and women both have masculine and feminine energy, there is not always, it's not a straight and narrow thing where people should be penciled in. They should express themselves however their heart desires, but there's definitely predispositions. If you study any if you look into the work of like Sigmund Freud or Carl Jung or Erik Erikson, any of the psychological theorists that have studied a lot of the models that build up psychology in this society, they'll go into this. And I think it's important to understand it without judgment. So that's important. Cool, let's move on. So, what else do you need to do to be sexy women? Next, honoring. So a lot of these come down to the difference between masculine and feminine energy. And so I'm glad that I pre-framed a bit about that. But to be in that state of being the most attractive, being able to honor is such an important one. And the key word for honoring from women to men is appreciation. Appreciating. Because men have this need, and again, I'm stereotyping heterosexual, because men have a need to feel useful and constructive, they want to know that their efforts are being seen. Appreciation and the ability to honor, and appreciation and love can be shown in different ways. Like you could appreciate someone by saying, thank you so much, I bought you this gift. Thank you so much, I'm going to take you out to celebrate. Thank you so much, let's have a beautiful intimate night together. There can be different ways. So I'm going to refer back to the love languages, the 5 love languages book. Just beautiful, Gary C. Chapman, introduces this idea that people give and receive love differently. You might really love getting gifts. You might really love hugs and touchy feely. You might hate touchy feely. And so if you got two people, one loves gifts and the other hates gifts, and the one that hates gifts loves touchy, but the other one hates, it's like you got to learn to give what the other person appreciates so that your efforts are received the best. But anyway, the male version of this, when I did the 9 qualities that women find sexy in men, there was a similar one to this, but I didn't go as much into the need to make that man feel appreciated. And so if you just have this general respect, and if you look at, again, psychoanalysis, and usually, I'm just going to throw this out there, if a woman has got a really close relationship and had a really healthy masculine role model in her father growing up, she will generally find this step easier. And so if you're listening to this going, that wasn't me, and that's actually clicking in now, it's okay. A lot of these points are going to be wounds that need to be healed. Same thing with the men's. It's like all personal growth. To become that sexy woman or that sexy man, it's about being the best version of ourselves. In summary, but honoring and appreciating is the ability to be like, I really love you and I appreciate this about you. I really see and notice, and it's kind of building. For a man to feel built up, it's just super special. So that's important. And to do that, you need to have a sense of fullness, not feel like you need to withhold or punish or blame, because you're like, no, I'm full and I just want to make this guy feel full as well. It's a beautiful quality, okay? Step number 5, healthy communicator. Healthy communicator. Woo-hoo. Healthy communication. All right, I'm going to break this into 2 factors here. One, and this is something that usually needs work, it's a difficult one to get, clear. Men find it attractive when a woman is clear with what she wants. And the opposite of this is mixed messages and being confused. And you know what? This factor is actually more, masculine and feminine is not, masculine doesn't directly mean man and feminine doesn't need woman. They've got their own qualities to masculine and feminine. This is actually a masculine quality in that men find attractive in a woman. Clarity. Because the feminine in nature is unpredictable, diverse. It's the dance of life. Clarity is more a logical, intellectual thing, but it's very important and it makes the man feel safe. He knows how he can win. So being clear makes him feel safe, and when he feels safe, he can find that as a beautiful, attractive quality. So clarity is one thing, clearly communicating. And the second one is expressing emotions. Expressing without projecting. That is massive. See, what happens is, and this is a joint, all of these are joint things, but if a woman is able to healthily communicate, say what's going on, what is she feeling, what does she need, I would love to do this, and express how she feels without the projection is not an attractive quality. That doesn't mean you're going to be perfect with any of these at any time, but it is not a healthy quality. It's not something that is attractive at all, because it's incriminating, and then it makes the man feel unsafe, and he's definitely not feeling attractive when he's feeling unsafe. And then that clarity is something that takes work. It needs to be built, practice, and being clear. And this is a 2-way street, but it's very attractive for a woman to have that. Number 6. All right, this is beautiful. Know yourself. And therefore, boundaries with love. All right, let's nail this point. All right, ladies, it's super attractive when you know who you are, you know your own worth. See, the world reflects the way that you feel about yourself. And if you know your worth and you know that you're a great catch, people go, oh, hang on a second, I feel more magnetized towards this person. When you know who you are, that means you know your interests. And it's very easy sometimes for men and women to lose themselves when they get into a relationship because they don't want to lose the person, so they mold and change their values and behaviors and lose their interests. They get lost in that relationship. It's actually sexy if you stay knowing who you are and know your value. But the important thing here is being able to communicate and say, no, this is really important to me. I don't want to do this activity you want to do, and that's okay. I still love you and I'm still here. But communicating boundaries is something that men listening might be like, don't say that, because it can feel a little bit risque, or it can feel a little bit unsafe. Or we can want, like as men, we can want you to do everything that we want to do, and we're holding hands and doing everything together all the time. But if you know your value and you know your worth and you know who you are and you can stay strong in that and clearly communicate what you are and aren't willing to do with love, that's the big key here. That's really attractive, because then we feel a pull and a magnetism. It's like, what's that? Treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen is a unhealthy way of expressing the primitive part that is true to that statement. Treat 'em mean, keep 'em keen. In other words, it's like when you aren't just caving in and changing and that desperate, needy energy where you change who you are to meet that other person, that's what that statement's really trying to get across. But it's not about treating them mean, it's about treating them lovingly, but knowing yourself and being able to communicate boundaries. So essentially, back yourself, know your worth, and that's super attractive. All right, this next one is going to be very helpful. Men out here, you can thank me for this later. This is so important. Responsibility. Taking responsibility versus being a victim. I attracted, as somebody who was wounded myself, I've been in multiple relationships earlier on in my life with people that I would definitely categorize as being in a victim mode, feeling at a effect of the world, not taking responsibility, not being the leader of their own life, but thinking that the life has doomed them. It's a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. It's, I can't change my situation, this sucks, versus, cool, what am I going to do about it? I know life's amazing. I know this world's giving me opportunity. I know I'm a beautiful person and I can do what I want. I just need the resources or the time or the help or the support or whatever it is to get there, but I know I can. So taking responsibility versus being in a victim mode. The victim mode, and this is something that you can work on. These are factors that you can grow and work on. Responsibility versus victim. Ladies, this is so important, because as soon as you do that, what it does is because the opposite, if you're a victim in your life, that means other people and external situations are causing you to be where you are. And it's very easy from this place to project blame onto your partner, just without any bad intent. It just happens naturally when you've got this belief system that I believe that I'm a victim in the world. It causes the man to feel like he needs to rescue and solve you. That'll mean that you lose your sense of self, which means that you become less attractive and you lose who you are, which is just a loss. So being able to take responsibility and know that that doesn't mean, because the solution to this, let's nail this right now. This is so important. The solution to this is being able to be accountable. Accountability with kindness. This is the solution. Self-accountability and self-kindness. You can only move out of the victim mode when you are kind enough to yourself to be truthful with yourself. If you're in victim mode, the reason that people go into victim mode is because they're looking for compassion. They're looking for people, because every time someone says, hey, look, you're not pulling your weight, like, get on with the job better, or hey, you're not communicating properly, or look, you're really struggling with your movement or your exercise or whatever it is. And you go, no, I'm not. This is not my fault. It's this person's fault. Because you're trying to deflect. It's very hard to be able to be honest with yourself when accepting responsibility takes away from your sense of self-worth. But if you're kind to yourself and you have that self-love, you've got a foundation through which you can receive feedback. You can be honest with where you are without thinking that means that you're worthless, that you are a piece of crap, that you're not worthy, essentially. So when you have that self-kindness, it also means that you can take responsibility. The victim mode uses that victim identity as a way of deflecting and saying, no, it's not my fault. But you don't even have to cast blame because it's okay. No one's perfect. Everyone has problems. It's all good. But just taking responsibility of that problem is the game changer. That's what allows you to be empowered to make a change. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything sorted, but taking responsibility is super sexy. Like, super sexy. And the victim mode is not very attractive, okay? All right. Next one, being kind and uplifting. This is just in general in society versus bickering. Don't know if I spelt this right. Versus bickering and gossip. Now I've got a recommended resource here. And what I want you to understand with this is that most of these, this is the interesting thing here. Anyone that's tuning in, if you're a dude tuning in, let me know if this resonates. Most of these factors and qualities essentially mean I'm trusting, I'm safe, I'm trustworthy. If you know your boundaries and you can state it and honor it, it makes someone else feel clear and safe. If you can communicate clearly and not project, it makes other people feel safe. If you can honor and appreciate someone, it makes someone else feel safe, okay? These are more obvious, just like sex bomb ones. Radiance, sensuality, connection with the body, valuing sex, etc. But these other things make people feel safe. And so taking responsibility makes someone feel safe, not versus being in victim and then projecting blame. Same thing here. If you're being kind and uplifting, it's such a sexy quality. But bickering and gossip makes people feel a mistrust. And there's a beautiful video that Brene Brown did that's called The Anatomy of Trust. I'm going to link it in the comments because she did this keynote presentation. It goes like 25 minutes on Oprah's Super Soul Sessions. And she breaks down what she believes the 7 factors are to what creates trust. She uses the acronym BRAVING: boundaries, reliability, accountability, the vault. And the vault is essentially not gossiping and not bickering, right? The vault, integrity, non-judgment, and generosity are the 7 points, but she explains what each of them mean in it so that you go, okay, cool. The reason I don't trust this person is because of this reliability piece. I do what I said I was going to do. But the gossip, the vault, if you have a gossip, it presupposes that there isn't that element of integrity and trust. And that's massive in a relationship. It's massive. It's massive for attractiveness and sexual chemistry for someone to feel safe. Safe is the precursor to attraction, so it's a prerequisite. So being kind and uplifting versus bickering and gossip. It is super sexy, super not sexy. All right? And let's go to this last one, which is massive, which is essentially health, being healthy. And I'm going to define it in 3 ways. Fit, energized, and sexy. I could have titled this sexy, and I could have said sexy is made up of being healthy, fit, and energized, essentially. So, healthy, super sexy. And this is where physical attraction comes in. None of these points, because society, most of the time it's like when dudes get around, and this is, I'm talking about healthy versus unhealthy, they go, what was she out of 10? This is what all dudes say. Oh yeah, what is she out of 10? She's 7. This is literally how unhealthy men think. And it's still a part. I still think this as one component. but it's a very small factor. These are way higher priorities for me than just this. But the reason that physical attraction is important from a biological perspective and a primitive perspective is because it suggests health. We as a species have a priority and coding in our DNA that has us make decisions on what's going to be best for continuing the human race. i.e., if we get with someone that's good looking from a physical appearance standpoint, it presupposes that they're healthy. And if you're going to have sex and have babies with someone that's healthy, it means the kids are going to be healthy. It means that the race is going to continue. So that's where it comes from. That's why healthiness is the heading for this. Because you staying fit and energized, this is the whole thing. Because fit and energized helps radiance. It helps all these things. But the other thing, and this is also true for the opposite as well, what women find sexy in men, but particularly with women. Particularly men find attractive this. And I'm going to say, me, big hands up. This is super important for me. Sexy is also, and this comes to the radiance and sexy, we can just put in the same thing. It's something that you have control over. It's you knowing your worth. It's you knowing your value. It's you going, I love who I am and I'm going to express my creativity and express myself to the world. That is sexy. And looks, totally. Wanting to give that radiance to the world is beautiful and very, very attractive. So health is massive. Fitness, being energized and sexy is huge. So if you found this video valuable, I'm about to summarize this hard. Drop us a like on the video. If you are if you're someone that's on here that wants to improve their lives, subscribe. I've got your back. We're going to improve together. A lot of these things take a serious amount of effort to be able to improve on, and my videos go very deep into how to improve yourself, work on yourself, and we can go on the journey together. Now, to summarize this, what do healthy men find sexy in women? Radiance, that's smiling a lot. That's just joy, being joyful. Sensuality, again, pre-frame for this. It's okay if this is a struggle for you right now. It's gonna take some deep work to move through and build that connection with your body and learn to value sex, because of society's relationship to the suppressed sexuality allows sexuality to be something that comes out unhealthily. And as a result, there's a lot of sexual trauma that people experience. And it might not be something obvious like sexual abuse or like a sexual assault, like a rape or something like this. It could even just be not understanding key sexuality concepts like the wheel of consent. To understand, you might feel not able to express yourself and you do something you didn't feel comfortable in. That can be sexual trauma. So go easy on yourself with that point, but know that it is very much an attractive quality for men. Career driven, but being able to bring the feminine energy and surrendering that masculinity in the context of the relationship. So powerful, like masculine at work, bringing that masculine energy in, but being able to surrender it in the relationship. Honoring and appreciating, healthy communicator, being able to be clear and also expressing your emotions without projecting blame. That's where the healthy masculinity is needed, to be that healthy container so that you can have enough stability in yourself and grounding in yourself that it doesn't just fly out in any direction, but it can be healthily processed and expressed. That's beautiful. It's actually beautiful for a man to witness that when it's not projected. Knowing yourself and your boundaries, massive, and being able to communicate it with love. Being responsible for your life because you have enough self-kindness to be truthful with where you're at and take responsibility for that. Kind and uplifting, removing the bickering and gossip. Mean girls, nah, it's not attractive at all. 9, being healthy, fit, energized, and sexy. Bring it on, girls. You sex bomb ladies out there, this is the key. And you can work on all of this. This is what I love about these points. You're not like, oh, well, this is genetics, career driven or not. No, you can choose if you want to go after something you love in life. You know, knowing yourself and your boundaries is something that you can work on. So really see these points. Jump in the comments right now, ladies, and go, which of these do you want to work on most? And be really vulnerable. I love looking at the comments and seeing what you all say. Let me know. If you found this valuable, drop us a like, subscribe to the channel. I'd love to stay in touch and connected with you through these videos. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Peace out.